Good morning and welcome to your wake up morning yoga. So hopefully you just got out of bed. You haven't done too much movement yet, but this is a great way to start your day. So get out your mat and we'll meet in a seated position. Take your time coming into your seat and don't feel too strict about stillness right away. In fact, in the morning, it's good to get a little bit of movement into the system that's not distracted, that's not stressed out or anxious. And so this will really help us establish a good internal atmosphere for the rest of our days. Once you feel grounded in your pelvis, feel the side waist lifting up towards the armpits evenly. And then drop the shoulders into that space and draw your skull lightly up and back as if into a headrest behind you. Take a big inhale through both nostrils all the way down to the pelvis. Pause and exhale through your mouth. Inhale through the nose all the way down. Pause. And exhale. Inhale through both nostrils all the way down. Exhale. Breathe naturally, evenly, and easily in and out through the nose. Feel your eyeballs get really soft, kind of lazy almost in the skull. Eyelids soft around them. With the eyes closed, with the body guided by intuition more than by thinking, we can start to take some opening movements. Maybe it just starts with a little bit of torso rolling, or really whatever you want. You just want to start to see what part of the body really needs to be woken up. Feel free to use your arms. We'll be here for the next 5 rounds of breath, just introducing the body to easy fluid movement. You can find a place to pause and be nice and still. We can blink our eyes open and roll forward into tabletop position. Set up evenly, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Even out the weight in your 4 bases evenly. Push your fingers down and forward, hug your forearms toward each other. Let that hugging sensation ride all the way up the arm bone into the upper sideways. So the flesh that kind of is adjacent to your armpit, all of the flesh on both armpits is squeezing in, hugging you inwards towards the spine, connecting you, integrating you. When you're ready, tuck the toes underneath, press down through the fingers, keep your face calm and your eyes fixed in front of you. And then pressing through the pads of the fingers, lift the knees an inch. So this is waking up a little integration. And go back down. Keep the toes tucked under, just sit the hips right back. Start to wake up the soles of the feet. Maybe you roll the shoulders back. If your shoulders are a little bit open, wave the belly back, lift the side waist up to the armpit, and then take the hands together behind us, interlock the fingers, and open the chest. When we're ready, let's meet in downward facing dog. So come forward, Lift the knees and go back. Feel free to pedal out the feet or just be slow, easy. Doesn't need to look like the best downward facing dog you've ever done in your life. Really tapping more into your experience of feeling, of sensation, rather than what your pose might look like or what your goal for the pose might be. Keep the left heel grounded. Inhale, stretch the right leg all the way up to the sky. Connect the right leg on the front of the body, and then exhale, draw the knee in, and take the foot down. Once the foot lands, you can drop your back knee down to the mat. Feel free to take cushion underneath your left knee if it's a little tender. And then just kind of be easy here. So we're coming into a nice, easy low lunge. And when you're ready for it, draw the torso to an upright position. Shoulders stacking over pelvis, skull pulls back. Slide down, but still squeeze the legs into the pelvis. Maybe you stretch the arms overhead. One more breath. Keep your pelvis level as you cast yourself forward. Take the left hand down to the floor, especially, both hands, but right now, especially the left hand. Keep the legs squeezing into the pelvis. Keep the belly waving to the spine, rippling out through the skull line. Take the right hand to the right knee. Now keep lengthening both side waist out through the armpits evenly, and then start to revolve. Twist the heart to the inner right knee. Start to open the chest. Take the shoulder blades together on the back. Spread out through the collarbones, wave long through the skull, and if you want, you can add the right fingers lifting all the way up to the sky. When you're ready, take the right hand down to the ground. Let's lift the back knee off the floor, level off the pelvis. Connect the energy from the left heel pressing back and the right knee sinking down. So it's one energy, one conversation. Squeeze into the pelvis, ripple on out through the skull, and we're just starting to wake, integrate the hips. Again, this doesn't need to feel like your biggest, your most intelligent, your easiest, your most comfortable lunge. The point of the practice is really to get us warm and prepared for the day. All the likes and dislikes that come with the day. Root down through the hands, pick your foot up, and then we're gonna lay the right knee to the right wrist, lay the right ankle between the left wrist and hip for half pigeon. And if this is not so good for you right here, either pad yourself up, put like a nice pillow underneath your right bottom, and just stay upright on your hands, or come on down to your back and do figure 4, thread the needle. If it's okay, let's spend the next few breaths walking down and forward into your half pigeon. Let's walk ourselves back up to the hands. Tuck the back toes. Lift the back knee up off the floor. Belly button to the spine. Lift the right knee into the heart. And then we're going to step the right foot right back down where it came from. So just into a high lunge position. Knee over ankle. Left heel pressing back, pelvis nice and level. Ripple on out through the skull. When you're ready, roll on up to a high lunge position. Waking up. You can stretch the arms overhead if that feels good. Just start to connect legs into pelvis. So we're strengthening the connection of the hips, all the work the legs are going to do for us today. Big breath in. Exhale, airplane arms. Inhale, go up. And this time, exhale, airplane arms. Keep the chest like this. But then just take the hands down to the ground. Take the left hand down, step the right foot back halfway and turn the toes open. We're actually going to spin onto the outer left foot. So we're in a version of Bandhasana side plank, grounding through that left hand. And then if you want, you can take the right arm to the sky. This feels pretty good for you. Maybe you just like the stretch in that outer right hip. It's kind of like that half pigeon, very reminiscent. But if you feel pretty strong, you want to pick the right foot up and take it into side plank pose, Bandhasana. So now we're strengthening the side waist. And let's go ahead, take the right arm overhead, take the right hand down to the floor. And here we are in high plank. Hold plank. And exhale, chaturanga. When you're ready, release the legs. You can just maybe roll a little bit left to right, side to side. Really release and relax through the face. When you're ready, stretch the hands back. If your shoulders are a bit more open, maybe you thread the fingers together behind you. If not, just keep them by your sides. Let's take Shavasana, Locust Pose. So you can start with the chest or with the legs, or you can take both together, but everything lifts up. Get really long through the vertebra of the spine, lengthening the back of the discs away from each other. The front of the discs, those are close to the organs of the body. Okay, keep the chest, release the legs, fan the toenails open, grip the floor with them. Take the hands underneath the elbows. And just take your baby cobra here. It's hard to talk. When you're ready, grip the ground. Maybe you curl up towards straight arms. They don't need to go straight. And then exhale, we'll meet in downward facing dog. Keep the right heel grounded. Inhale, lift the left leg up to the sky. And exhale, bring the knee forward and ground the left foot down to the ground. For now, drop the back knee and come into your low lunge. You can spend time on the ground with your support, and as you feel ready for it, come on up to your upright low lunge. Arms may be lengthening overhead. If this is too much on the shoulders right now, just separate the arms wide for a goal pose variation. When you're ready, let's come forward. Ground the hands down to the floor, especially that right hand. Belly lengthening back to the spine, rippling out through the skull. Keep the side waist long on both sides. Take the left hand to the left thigh. Now, work back into that same integration. Lengthen, 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 and then begin to revolve and twist the heart over to that left knee. If you want, you can add the left fingers going all the way up to the sky. Still squeeze the legs into the hips. Lengthen the side waist long to the armpits and out through the skull. When you're ready, take the left hand down. Lift the back leg and set up for your high lunge with your hands on the floor for support. So you want to level off the pelvis. Do your best to squeeze the legs into the hips. Connect the line of energy from your right heel pressing back to your left knee descending down all the way out through the skull line. When you're ready, ground your hands, lift your hips a little bit, lift your left knee into the belly so the foot lifts, and then take it to half pigeon. Lay the shin across the mat, left knee to left wrist, left ankle between right wrist and hip, no demand on the body. Maybe you just stay upright, maybe you roll onto your back and take figure 4 instead, or you might just come down to a folded variation. You can just see, where's your mind right now? Is it clear? Is it calm? Is it cloudy? Is it distracted? No matter what the truth is of those qualities, it's all okay. So notice if, as you observe, if you're developing feelings or judgments about what you find inside of you. Let's walk ourselves back up to the hands. Grounding down, tucking the toes, lift the hips up, lift the left knee into the belly, and then we're going to take it right back where it came from for high lunge position. So you just take your time to set up into your lunge, and then when you're ready, you can draw all the way up to stand. And every yoga pose is gradual, it's an experience, so there's nothing really to accomplish. There's no shape to go after. There's just your personal individual alignment, which is different from everyone else's. Big breath in. Exhale, sideways long, stretch back, airplane arms. Inhale, go up. Exhale, airplane arms. Keep the torso like this. Take the hands down to the floor for support. Look long. And then with the right hand grounded, we're going to step the left foot back halfway, turn the toes open. Come in the outer edge of the right foot. Set up for Bandhasana, side plank. And so you just work on this side, whatever you did on the other. Maybe you stay here in this hip stretch. Or if you feel nice and strong, ready, you can take that left foot, maybe stack it on top of the right foot for full version. Let's lengthen the left arm long by the left ear, and then take the left hand down to the floor. Find high plank pose, top of a push-up. Here we are, hold. Settle in. Nice big breath in. Exhale, go down. Release the tops of the feet. Again, you can give yourself a nice little time to adjust and relax. And then gripping the ground with the toenails, slide the hands back underneath the elbows. Take your low cobra first. Collarbone spread nice and wide. And you're just using your back muscles, firing them up, reminding them that they're alive even though you can't see them. Grip the floor with your fingernails, maybe curl all the way up to upward facing dog or cobra, doesn't matter, high cobra. And then exhale, go back down dog. Spend your next inhale to prepare to come forward, whatever you want to do. And then on your exhale, you can step, hop, or float all the way to the very top of your mat. Hang nice and easy when you get there, and a standing forward fold, Tadasana. Your legs can be far apart, the knees can be bent. Anything in service of getting the belly and thighs close to each other. The belly button is still turned on, like it's going back to the spine and then dripping all the way down to the skull. So imagine like your belly muscles are trying to help you flex your front body over your legs more. Releasing the hands down to the ground if they aren't there already. Next, inhale, float upwards to your halfway lift mark. Everyone's at a different spot here. And your exhalation, fold. Take that one more time. Inhale, halfway lift. And on this exhale, we're going to stand all the way up. Nice, easy Tadasana. Grounding through your feet, inhale, wave the arms upward to the sky. Exhale, slide the hands together at the chest. And now here's another opportunity for you to take the standing position and just 5 breaths here, either holding a static pose or again, inviting some movement in. And maybe you close the eyes so you can really go inside and see what you need, so that the movement is arising from deep within you. It's not a superficial application of movement. And so whether it's like taking some neck stretches, or even a pose that we've already done. When you're ready, we'll meet in Utkatasana chair pose. If you can manage it, take the big toes together, space between the heels. And if not, then don't worry, place the feet a little bit wider and then come on down. Really turn on the underside of the legs here. So that's really what we want to empower. This chair pose is teaching us how we're going to get up from all of our chairs throughout the day. And in order to not strain the knees, we want to make sure that the muscles of the undersides of the legs, deep in the gluteal area and the hips, are really strong and active. So now wave the arms forward. And on your exhale, we're going to build fists of fire and scoop up to stand. Use your butt muscles to press the pelvis forward. When you get up here, check it out. Spread the collarbones nice and wide. Pull your skull up and back and lengthen your spine as if a giant had his hands on two ends of it. Your spine is like a long snake, like a long cylinder. So feel the cylindrical aspect of the spine growing up and down. Okay, we're going to go in and out of that. So inhale, we're going to slide back down. Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, fists of fire, come up. Inhale, chair. Exhale, fists of fire. Inhale, chair. Exhale, fists of fire. Inhale, chair. Exhale, fists of fire. We're coming back down to chair. And this time we're going to lift our heels and come all the way down to our butts. When we come down here, balance on the sitting bones, lift the heels, come into boat. Take your time here. Belly waves back all the way out through the skull, so the neck is in line with the spine. And if you can take your arms away, take them away. Take a big inhale here. Exhale, Ardha boat. So make sure that the shoulders feel good, sideways, lengthen out of the pelvis evenly. Draw your throat back. Inhale, come up, boat. Exhale, go down. Inhale up. Exhale down. This time, drop all the way down to the back. Just maybe shake it out a little bit. Feel the support of the floor underneath you. That's a big thing. The weight of the world is not, in fact, on our shoulders, as we can so often feel like it is. So coming down here, really absorbing the support from underneath us, learning to trust that. Even if the floor crumbles, it doesn't matter. We are still supported. Step your feet in close to your butt. We're going to take Setu Bandhasana, bridge. So I like to brush my ankles with my middle finger. But that's really, like I said, like a yoga pose doesn't have alignment, people do. So you just find what kind of works for you the best. And then feel here from your pelvis to your armpits and empower that section, that midsection in between here. Empower the length of it from the pelvis, and I'm taking that point from the front hip bones all the way up to the armpits. Feel it congeal together like it's one cohesive conversation. Now the small of the back should be lightly lifted, and we're just going to try to keep the pelvis in that relationship to the spine as we lift the bottom up. Take your time here. Sometimes I like to pause in the transition of it, because the transition is where you lose that integration. And if you just fly through the transition, you try to put the integration back in when you're in the full posture, it oftentimes doesn't work as well. Let the hip bones narrow in the front, and this is gonna, you gotta work your legs in a certain way to get the hip bones to narrow in the front. Once you get the hips up here, don't try to keep pressing those up, but start to empower the chest more towards the chin. Keep rooting through the back of the head. And then when you're ready, drop the pelvis down. Lightly give a few little nods left and right with the knees. And we're gonna take the knees into the chest and roll back up to boat pose. So take your time. And now we're going to reverse the breath. So the next time you breathe in, go out, art a boat. Exhale up. Inhale out. Exhale up. Inhale out. Exhale up. Okay, you guys, we're coming down. Inhale and drop it. Second opportunity for bridge. And on this time, if you are accustomed to going to full wheel pose, you can go there as well. Personally, I like to turn my bridge into a wheel. So we'll have 5 breaths, whatever posture you're choosing. Set yourself up nice and mindfully. Whatever was successful about the last posture, whatever you felt deeply, truly for yourself, employ that here. The repetition is where the learning happens. And so we'll be here for about 5 breaths. Wherever you are, another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lightly come on down. This time with the pelvis on the ground like this, we're going to take constructive rest. So heel toe your feet nice and wide. Let the knees drop in on each other. This should give the inner legs and thighs a moment of release and relaxation. This is nice counter pose to our boat poses. And so just firing up a little bit of the core work in the morning can really help us establish good postural tendencies throughout the rest of the day. Make sure that the muscles that are designed to help us walk or sit or stand or whatever we're going to be doing all day are actually the muscles that are working. We're not compensating with other muscles, other parts of the body that may not be designed to help us with those activities. Let's open the hips, go the opposite. Take the feet together. Let the knees butterfly open here. And depending on how naturally flexible or kind of naturally integrated / tight you are, you're gonna find you have different tendencies in this pose. If you're really loose, try not to give too much space between the low back and the floor. So you just want the natural curve of the low back there. For me, I have a more flippy-floppy type of body, and so my big tendencies are falling out of integration. So I need to work on that. And what helps me in this posture is pushing my feet lightly towards each other with no stress, no tension. Help your legs out, take them together. Go ahead, draw your knees into your chest, and then we'll take a twist. So you can open your arms. If you prefer a one-legged twist or a different type of supine twist, you can always go there. When you're ready to switch your sides, go to the other. Let's draw the legs back through center, and we'll actually roll back on up to a seat. In this seated position, take the hands behind you. The fingers can face any direction you want. Chest is open, collarbones wide, belly is strong and energetically connected out through the skull. Step your feet in. When you're ready, press down and lift the pelvis up off the floor, reverse table. When you're ready, set the hips back down. Take the legs out in front of you. If a seated forward fold feels good, you can do that. If it doesn't, if you have a chair around you, just sit yourself up in a chair and try to fold your upper body over your lower body. And the depth of the fold is really categorized by how close you can get the belly and thighs together. So that's flexion of the hips. That's what we're looking for. And as we start to get more restful here, we want to stay alert. So we're teaching ourselves that it doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need to be full of action, full of movement, in order for us to be interested and paying attention. And when this lesson really starts to root itself in our experience, and we start to experience that alertness during times of stillness and relaxation, this is actually the closure that we crave from all of the emotional disturbance, turmoil, storms that we go through in our lives. So keeping the eyes closed, we'll begin to walk ourselves up out of this folded position. We'll stay in a seat, and we'll just come to a seated Shavasana today. Any seat will do, even if it's in a chair. Shorter practice means that we can kind of be a little bit more creative with what we call Shavasana. And because this is our morning practice, we want to prepare the body to get up and take action after we're finished here. And so the seated posture keeps us alert, it keeps us upright, presented, open. So when you find your comfortable seat, you can just close your eyes. Lift your side waist evenly up through your armpits, drop your shoulders, and pull your skull up and back. With the eyes closed, all the objects of the room and the world no longer here, no longer claiming our attention. But our mind is made of objects because it's made of thoughts. And so if you had to define what your mind is, you would say, well, it's a collection of thoughts, and it consists of whatever thoughts are flowing through the space of consciousness in any given moment. And so because the mind is made up of thoughts, which are very subtle objects, but they're objects, the mind will crave more objects. So you might find when you sit down, you'll start to think about breakfast or what you have to do today, your relationships, judgments, opinions, memories, all kinds of stuff. Now, whatever's arising for you, don't fight it. Sometimes it's easy to not fight it because it's so pleasant and we just find ourselves effortlessly clear-headed. But sometimes our minds are kind of like a little junkyard, and that's okay too. We want to learn to not fight that because the way we would fight it is with more thoughts. So you can't fight a deluge of thoughts with more thoughts. It's just not going to work. Instead, we're here to just observe what we have inside the container of ourselves. We're here to know ourselves a little bit more and to really start to see that we are not our thoughts. We're not our thoughts. We could join our hands together in front of our chests, bow our heads, collect another moment of quiet. Namaste.